This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's keep it going. Talk about your other pal, the late, great Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
He's signed to a 3-year deal here, coming off his run in WCW. He started this loose cannon character over there, sprinkled a little bit in ECW, and now he's here, although he's fresh off of surgery from that Humvee accident. Obviously, you're familiar with Brian. We've recently talked about him a good deal here on the show. But in hindsight, should we have waited until he had a clean bill of health to bring him in, do you think?
I guess in hindsight, sure.
I guess what I'm saying is, are we getting caught up in the whole WCW, boy, we got to win thinking?
Well, that certainly played a part, Conrad. I'm not going to deny that. But we always felt that Brian was a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
And we also didn't know, the timeline for him to get healthy. I also don't know that we knew exactly how severely injured his ankle was from the standpoint of it getting fused and him not being able to do some of the things athletically, that he didn't have to spring off that leg, things of that nature. But we looked at Brian as not a one-tool guy.
Right.
We looked at him as a guy that could do a lot of things. I envisioned another Jesse Ventura-like character with Brian, where he could be a great asset on the mic as a broadcaster and really lighten that whole role up and be controversial and be timely and topical, all those things. Or he could have been a manager, and not in the true sense of Mr. Fuji manager, but a more updated manager role.
Sure.
So I don't know that if he was only a one-dimensional guy, the signing him at the time that we did probably might have been a little premature. But knowing the fact that we had several potential roles for him to fill, it didn't seem too early.
It is interesting, though, if you and I were to take a look at this as a trade, right? Sort of like what you would see in traditional sports. You're essentially trading Scott Hall and Kevin Nash for Brian Pillman. And on paper, that doesn't seem to be a fair and equitable trade. But I guess, obviously this isn't regular sports and there's a lot more in play and the finances aren't exactly equal. But speaking, next up, we're going to see Brian Pillman come out on crutches to do an interview. He's doing his loose cannon persona, and he passes Austin in the aisleway, and they just sort of stare at each other, but they don't acknowledge it on commentary. But of course, longtime wrestling fans remember, hey, wait a minute, on another channel, those guys were tag partners. But it is a nice little subtle thing. Do you remember whose idea that would have been? Because I loved it as a kid.
Well, you got two great minds there with Brian and Steve. So it could have been either guy or a combination of both. But something like that probably might have been because of what we were doing. I'll try to explain this better. That it might have been Brian's idea. This is what Brian had on the show. Austin still has to wrestle. So maybe Brian's just thinking of other ways just to season up this dish a little bit and create, because we didn't comment on it on purpose. We've laid out purposely. So if I had to guess, and I don't know, I'd say it probably was Brian's idea that he probably pitched to Steve. All they got to do is look at each other and let the rumors and the stories and all that stuff start. But it was timely. It's a pretty cool deal.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.